We're here at the Leeds Carnegie Research Institute. We're having full profiling, Submax and VO2 Max profiling. So we're just going to give you a nice overview today of that process and hopefully see some of the guys being tested. When we use this, I guess, pre-season, mid-season, just to update training zones during the racing. And you can, depending on the sort of motivation of the athlete and if it's suitable or not, use it at the end of the season. So this is going to be really like the first chance that all the riders are going to get together. So we've got some of the existing riders that we kept from 2017 and then some new additions. So hopefully it's going to be really interesting just to see how strong they are and hopefully, I guess, help them and help the team's performance.
We're here today with KTM UK looking at putting all of the riders through a range of tests in the lab. Each athlete is going through 2 tests. The first one is a submaximal exercise profile the riders can use to inform their training. The submax profile essentially looks at 2 lactate thresholds, lactate 1 and 2, or lactate turn point as it's often referred to, and they give a really good indicator of an athlete's ability to either work for a sustained duration or more of kind of what cyclists term threshold or functional threshold. To determine those thresholds, each rider will sit on the bike at a certain power output, and we're increasing that power at the end of every 4 minutes until the blood lactate levels or lactic acid gets to a certain concentration in the blood. They have a short rest, and then we put them through the second maximal test, and then that's the one that all athletes kind of know and want to refer to as their VO2 Max. And that's a really short and sweet protocol. We start at a power output based on the first test, and we ramp it up really quickly until the athlete literally cannot ride anymore.
I've done my Submax and my VO2 Max testing today. It involves 2 separate ramp tests, one Submaximal, one Maximal. This helps us determine some power figures on our lactate thresholds, which will in turn help us in our training and hopefully racing in the season. Yeah, the tests are pretty brutal. I know my heart rate was over 200, but good experience.
So once the riders are finished, we need to spend a bit of time with the numbers and the data, just making sure it's all treated and looking good, and then we basically take the data and we plot up a figure of the blood lactate response and the heart rate response to the incremental test, which allows us to then kind of chop that profile into a number of different sections based on predominantly Andy Coggan's work in the 90s around heart rate training for cyclists, but there are different ways of doing it. With that data, really its best benefit is with training. So rather than kind of using it to sort of inform race power outputs or to predict the type of racing or race that a rider might be good at or able to do, its main impact is in and around training. So it just allows riders and coaches to prescribe a session based on heart rate or power output rather than kind of guessing based on speed for the type of adaptation and physiological stress that you want to create within a given session. So for example, if you wanted a nice long steady easy ride rather than kind of just going on feel, you've got a bit more data to inform that. So using heart rate or using power or both just enables that session to be much more on target and focus for the rider. We can prescribe a given power output around VO2 Max. We know then that we're kind of hitting the right power, and then the right number of intervals might be achievable by the athlete rather than kind of overcooking it slightly and falling 2 or 3 intervals short for the session because the rider's just too tired. We can help riders and coaches kind of inform that training and sort of hand it over to them really to write the training plan for a given athlete. If this is something that you wanted to get involved in, we offer this service to the public. You can get in touch with us through our website, the School of Sport at Leeds Beckett University.